Good afternoon, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to another fantastic Free Enterprise Highway to the Zemus Zone 6 race. We have Boneyc versus C-2 in a matchup today. My name's Vatasia. I'm joined on the mic with Organ Mike. How are we doing today?
We are doing just fine, Vatasia. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm looking at these fantastic blue planet goals that we have for our runners here. Should be really interesting. We're looking for a lot of key items that we're going to need to solve these problems.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is the diversity and the variation of what objectives you're going to get has a lot to do in terms of how you're going to route. Some of the things that stick out about this, if you look at it, three of our objectives, the launch the Falcon, the turn in the Sand Ruby, and the burn Mist Village with the package, those all require key items to get them, but they're kind of dead ends, and as in completing them aren't necessarily going to reward you with another objective. So it's real interesting when you have that many dead end objectives. The prevailing wisdom in free enterprises: do your objectives, because then they can unlock more key items to get you going. But with those, I would not be surprised at all if we saw one or both of the runners. Like if you get a package or a sand ruby mid game and you're already happy with your party, you might just hold off on that, because turning those in isn't necessarily going to net you anything. You can kind of tick it off mentally in your mind, but you don't necessarily have to turn those in immediately like you would, say, if you got the Baron Castle key early.
That's definitely true. And I'm just doing a little bit of mental math here. If you count the hook as required for the Falcon and the Darkness Crystal is required for completing Cave Bahamut, those 8 objectives represent 9 different key items that have to be picked up to solve them all. Every one of them, 2 of course required for the Legend Sword and the Adamant, but every one of them requires a different key item. None of them really have any overlap.
Those are my favorite kinds of scenes, because yeah, when you have 2 or 3 moon objectives, or you have both liberate Baron Castle and check the Baron Throne, or multiple hook objectives, for example, the scene tends to be very same soundy feeling. So we start with Iridia Hero and her best buddy Palom with a twin harp, so
Oh,
that is an
Twin Harp.
objective.
Yeah.
But man, that's one of those objectives I hate to see if I'm doing a mage party, because that particular spot is not mage friendly at all.
And we've got a Lunar Sparkle standing in Baigan's spot in the castle, so it could be a challenge right there to take out Baron Castle, depending on who that Lunar Sparkle is representing.
All right, so here's been another thing that normally by this point in time in a tournament race in free enterprise, a meta develops in terms of where do you go to get to do kind of your initial looting. Over the years, different places have been very popular. Some folks start in Eblin Castle, like we see Boneyc starting. Other folks, C2 coming over here and already checking out some of the shops. And I imagine the Pauper's Treasury here in Troya. There hasn't been a meta, though, that's emerged up to this point in time. Different ideas for different party use have kind of made things a little bit varied right now.
Well, Boney C found the Mad Ogres and decided to bail out of that fight reasonably. It wouldn't have taken long for the Mad Ogres to take apart these 2 children.
Well, it's worth pointing out that before the Mad Ogres, that was a charm rod, which is the second best rod in the game. It's plus 10 wisdom. So with a couple of black mages, you definitely want to go back and pick that up. And, I don't blame Boney for going back. Plus a mute, which is going to be plus 5. Great starting gear for a couple of mages. I would love to see a Stardust Rod, and I'm sure Boney's hoping to see that as well. Just because Stardust Rods mean you can kind of go from the word go.
The C2 checking out the shops in Troya. There's a few things that might be interesting to find. There's tents. Not the more powerful cabins, but the tent is not a bad way to spend an evening, I suppose.
I mean, it restores 1,000 HP and I think 100 MP. So it'll do in a pinch. It won't. It's not going to be useful if you're trying to clear out the moon, but it'll do in a pinch.
C2 choosing to go to the watery pass after raiding Toroya. Definitely, though, we're looking for equipment to get these two kids off the ground.
Hey, that's a flame whip. Don't underestimate how strong a flame whip is in the hands of Rydia. I mean, if we did find a karate shirt somewhere, although I think that was on Boney's side, that flame whip, plus 10 strength, uh, starting out early, Rydia can absolutely put work in right out of the gate.
At that point, the bigger worry is the fact that she's only got 30 hit points, and a single hit from just about anything will knock her flat.
Yeah, details.
There's a Blitz Whip and a Power Staff, Diamond here. Got crystal armor over on C2's side in the Watery Pass.
That crystal armor, in the past has had some different uses. It's mostly money. This tournament, though, it certainly enables Cecil, if we are looking for that ever popular Mac Giant grind, covers Cecil with even at level 1 with some crystal armor on. Very, very capable in the back row.
C2 also finding 2, not 1, but 2 Odin summon orbs.
That's nice. I mean, it's money to me. I can't tell how often I sell Odin orbs. It just insta sell.
Tiara and Wizard Gear, though, can be pretty useful. Boneyc, I think, is doing a boss check to see who's hiding in the Mist Cave. And if it's a Mist Dragon, could be a nice, quick item. It's Odin. I think Odin is not going to be particularly kind to those children.
So on C2 side, not only does Rydia have that tiara, which is going to be a fantastic piece of caster gear once we get there, also has that flame whip. That Rydia with a tiara, that is an amazing piece of defensive gear. That Rydia is tanky.
I'm guessing the runners were probably checking the Mist Dragon spot to see if it's something they could take for some quick experience. C2 going to actually give it a go here.
Anything to get this Rydia online. This is, or get your Palom to level 2 spells. Even a single level 2 spell will help enable anything. So just one level. That's all we're looking for.
Well, and there's 5 for Rydia.
Nothing for Palom. I didn't think so.
But it's a start. And again, we've got 2 low-level mages. Got to get them running.
Boney also coming over and checking the item shop here in Kaipo, doing some shopping, and there's our life potion. So we're going to take some time and say, yeah, let's start selling stuff.
I think that was a Golbez hiding in the waterfall.
Good. Get that
Let him
man
stay there.
out of the pool.
By getting him into the pool. We're going to see who's hiding behind the sound ruby. It looks like Edward is in the bed in Kaipo.
Yeah, I'm definitely not excited to turn that sand ruby in now. That's not. I'll save that for my last objective before I turn in if I can.
In the Twitch chat, we have Dravenheart redeeming a shoutout from Commentator Crew.
Hey, Draves. That's my Final Fantasy 14 in-game wifey. Also a significant contributor, not only to the free enterprise community, but also to the RPG Valkyries and many, many other online communities. So, hey, Draves. How you doing, wifey?
Good to see you, Dravenheart. We got C2 launching the hovercraft and raiding Gamsian. And Boneyc going to find out the good news about Golbez.
Really interesting. C-2 has said, yeah, we got these summons. Let's go ahead and use them. We learned Asura and Odin for Rydia. Might be some swag usage here before long. Not enough MP to use them right now. But if for whatever reason we find ourselves short of White Mage, we can't find a Rosa or Callum or Porum. Rydia is the third best White Mage in the game with that Asura. 2/3 of the time.
67% of the time, yeah. And then every so often, Asura just decides a life 1 is going to be what we're getting here. We're going to see the free spell on one side of Hobbs, and we're going to see the boss and character on the second side.
That looked like the miss summon over on C2 side, so not necessarily wanting it. We have
Lugai.
Yeah, that's not something we're necessarily excited about, but we did pick up a Black Sword, and that's, early game, Black Sword Cecil can put in a little bit of work. It's got some great stats on it, plus wisdom for some strange reason, but hey, it still swings very hard.
And of course, Balnab doing his typical punching the wrong person.
Yep. The Balnab and Dr. Lugay script is just absolutely fantastic.
It'd be interesting to see the difference that the several levels on Rydia makes for this fight, as C2 has done the Odin fight in the Mist Cave, and Boneyc did not do that fight. So, see if that will make any difference at all.
Well, between that and the Flame Whip that Rydia is equipped on C2 side, although Boney is rocking the Black Sword on Cecil, so it's kind of half dozen of one, 6 of another. They're both doing sizable damage.
Question in chat, how do you think Lugai would sound if he had a voice actor?
I would think he would sound a little like this. Probably. Now I will operate him directly.
That's actually spot on. That's exactly what I was thinking. A little bit cackly, maybe a little bit in the higher register.
Now it is time for the real fight. Hold my gas.
This is the professional commentary that everyone is tuning in for in the free enterprise.
You get what you pay for, and this is free enterprise, friends. Well, definitely showing a C2 coming into that fight a little bit after, but finishing a little bit earlier. The difference in equipment and levels possibly making a small difference in the effect. Not having to fight this stage of Dr. Lugai that Boneyc is stuck with. Goodness, I get to indulge my fantasy of having my once fantasy of being a voice actor for video games.
That's 80% of why we do this. We were joking ahead of time that doing commentary tickles the inner theater kid in us, and yeah, absolutely.
I do not regret my life as a musician, but man, if I could be an actor.
So yeah, chat's pointing out with that Dark Knight Cecil, and we know we have a Poison Axe that Paladin Cecil will be able to swing. So we get the sense that trip to Ordeals is going to be up on the agenda fairly quickly. I personally, before I'm doing Ordeals, I want to get some sort of sweeper decent summon on my Rydia. And some ether ones so I can get through. Although that heroin robe that C2 just picked up. Okay, never mind. We're good.
Boneyc looking like it's going to take the Mist Summon. It's a bit of a sweeper.
It's better than what we got, for sure.
And a second Poison Axe in the Antlion Cave. We have a little divergence here with Boneyc going to Fabul to see what's shaken there. We do eventually have to return the Pan Tiang's wife as one, well, potentially have to return it. 75% chance that we have to return the Pan Tiang's wife.
I really like this divergence because I think it was emblematic of kind of adjusting to the realities of the scene. C2 could just pop over, wasn't poisoned. Hey, we got bonus round in here, which is fantastic. Boney, in the meantime, had the poison status and is utilizing this Fabul as almost a free cure at this point.
And we have Mylon and friends in Fabul and the Mist Dragon in the basement of the Antlion Cave. Mist Dragon goes down quick for C2. And the Mist Summon comes up on the other side to help deal with them ghasts.
That'll
and
do.
There's an important key item in these: the vanilla sand ruby in the basement of the Antlion's cave.
I'm not turning that in.
Well,
no.
C2 hasn't,
I'm not
hasn't
turning it
seen
in.
Edward. C2 hasn't seen Edward yet, so maybe they will. Who knows?
I mean, it's nice that we're going to get an objective capable out of the way. But yeah, if it that Edward, my goodness.
Well, filling
I
out the
guess you're
party is
going to
still
pick it
filling
up.
out the
Yeah.
party. Yeah.
I mean,
if you've got
it's
5 characters, you don't take Edward, but you've only got 3. A little bit of extra oomph in that in the offense department never hurt anyone. Well, never hurt the party. It hurts the other guys. That's the point.
so here's how I liken Edward as a general rule. Unless you have a spoon, and then it's all hands on whatever. Edward is worse than the teddy bear item in Earthbound because at least the teddy bear can take a couple hits before it croaks.
As a fellow bard, I feel like I should defend him, but, not a whole lot I can say about that. And Boneyc has defeated Mylon and liberated Fabul, getting warp with Rydia, I believe it was.
Yeah, so interesting.
C2
We'll see.
has-
Yeah, turning in the. I got to imagine picked up Edward. Will be turning in. Oh, there's the package.
Oh, well, look at that! I wonder if it's another Edward behind the package as well.
Okay.
Vitasia,
You could make
or,
just a
sorry,
single
ST2.
trip to Mist if we really wanted to. If we went over to, but don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, C2, going to find, I think that's Kane in the Baron Inn. I only caught a glimpse, but... It's Kane guarded by a Dark Knight. Interesting.
This is one of those instances that I know what C2 is doing, saying, hey, let's go ahead and just wait out everything. But that HP spot is so low, just knock over Cecil, save yourself some health, honestly.
But how will we ever learn that justice is not the only right in this world?
And that's the neat trick. You don't.
It looks like C2 is just going to leave that alone for the moment. That's another place where if you're fast enough to get Edward hidden, Edward can be useful. And Boneyc heading down into the Antlion Cave to find the Sand Ruby, which I'm sure he will be thrilled about.
Yeah, that'll be, I mean, between the Sand Ruby and being able to do both the package and Mist Village and kind of all of the Mist at the same time, and then bounce right over to turn in the Sand Ruby, that makes the visit to that part of the world that much more efficient.
C2 is climbing Ordeals, meanwhile.
Yeah, this will be interesting. With the heroine robe, we're probably okay. I'm just worried about anything that we need to sweep through.
What have we got here? We have Rubicant, or possibly the Elements, standing in Mylon's spot. That is Rubicant. I guess he figures that Mylon is off elsewhere, so he'd better take over the spot and make sure no one gets through.
Yeah, this is kind of a rough spot for Rubicon because he does the counters. Now, if we can get this Ice 2 off, I think we're about done because it doesn't have a ton of HP.
And that was a lot of damage.
It was.
Boney is walking out the Sand Ruby.
Ice 1 cast. It's not going to be, yeah, not even 200 damage between the Flame Whip and the Heroine Robe, both of which I think have minus 10 wisdom. So that's minus 20. Yeah, that's what we need Palom to do work.
Rubicant is out of the way, and Boney C is going to go and pick up the Bard. So one fight down on Ordeals, and we'll see what C2 runs into in the back attack fight.
Thank you, Zeno, for correcting me.
Yeah.
Oof. Oof. Guards in this back attack spot, they counter
a lot of hit points on him.
Yeah, they counter anything. Yeah, that's a clutch cast. We'll see if she has the magic to be able to hit them.
It looks like it. Got 2 frogs.
Okay,
and
this
behind
is
the Mist
free,
Dragon, behind the Mist Dragon, we find the Rat Tail. Interesting. We don't have a hook yet to turn that in. But it could, with the number of key items required, that could be an important stop on the road. And the package gives us a Rosa and a bunch of doors that's just going to burn down the city.
I mean, that Rosa, yeah, I'm taking Rosa right there. Rosa is the best white mage in the game. Her HP pool is fantastic. Little bit, I mean, the one downside is you're not guaranteed to get exit on Rosa. You have to go through the Tower of Zot, but when you have a Cecil who's also going to learn exit relatively soon, that overcomes that deficiency very, very quickly. So, love seeing a Rosa here. That rounds out the party, and I think that Kane is going to replace our Edward.
And Rydia on C2's side, throwing Odin and not being able to deal with those frogs, unfortunately. So, going to have to do it the hard way.
Yep, that is unfortunate. It was
not
worth a
the
shot.
Hard way, the long way. Yeah. Is boosting Palom's magic power with the bluff skill. But yeah, I do think Boney C is probably going to finish off this quest. You only have to burn the village to get the objective complete, but if you want the character, you have to take them to the Kaipo Inn and revive them.
Yeah, we're going to do it. If you get the package later in the seed, I don't think you do this turn in. You bite the bullet to take the cutscene, and then you leave an extra party member in your inventory just carrying around a body at that point.
Yeah, I have seen that happen. C2 meanwhile has finished off those frog guards and is putting themselves through the next save to go and see who Rydia is going to have to take on as the hero in the Ordeals Chamber of Mirrors. And that's a Leviathan guarding the Kaipo Inn.
Yeah, that
very
Leviathan
quickly dealt
falls
with
over.
Leviathan.
Didn't even get a wave out. That's fantastic. Meanwhile, C2 ends up finding, hey,
Hello.
I like that.
That's some Underworld access right there. And Bahamut, King of the Summons. Should be 3 hits of that sort of damage. Or 2, fair enough. Rydia proving that she can do math better than I can.
All right, so Boney has done kind of our desert errands up to this point in time. 2 objectives already complete. And says, hey, it's time to also go up Mount Ordeals. I want a better Cecil. And I do not blame him.
No, I mean, the other options for finding forward progression might be at the Baron Inn. or behind the Twin Harp, because we do have that. But yeah, no, going up Mount Ordeals is a very reasonable thing, especially with that Cecil in the party.
Yeah, Cecil, the Mount Ordeals play is one that, because there's 3 bosses and a cutscene that locks behind it, if you don't have a reason to go to it, a lot of the runners are trying to dodge it early on, especially if you already have your underground access. But when you have a Cecil, it certainly incentivizes it. It doesn't make it mandatory by any stretch, but certainly makes it more palatable.
Definitely, and with some of the Cecil equipment we've been finding, the Paladin equipment we've been finding, it's certainly a reasonable thing to do to go and get Cecil up to a more suitable form.
That being said, I was talking with some other community members about priorities that you take in this particular flag set. Paladin Cecil is good, but he doesn't have the same power level that he had in previous tournaments, where you could find an Excalibur or Crystal Sword just kind of, walking away, doing your normal thing. He's been powered down in large part because of the rarity of those particular holy swords. He's still good. He still has quite a bit of value, more as even doing cover strats, and his ability to equip things like poison axes to enable the grind on mech giants. But he's not quite the same snap take that he used to be in the tournament, which has been an interesting dynamic for a lot of longtime runners who are just kind of accustomed to see a Cecil, take a Cecil.
For sure. Boneyc took one shot at Rubicant and backed out and is taking a second run at the Fiend of Fire. Changing up equipment to have some ice arrows on Rydia.
Yeah, that'll help quite a bit.
The other possible consideration, too, in this seed is that Cecil does get some basic white magic and does get that exit spell. In the absence of Porum, or we don't have Fusoya or Tella in this flag set, I don't believe. And without going to the Tower of Zot to complete the quest for Rosa, that is a source of quick leaving.
No, absolutely. He is absolutely still a powerful character. I didn't necessarily want to diminish that, but it's weird to say that he's still like one of the top 2 or 3 characters, but he's been brought back down to earth instead of being the snap take that everyone like immediately will go out of your way. If you find a Paladin Cecil in Dwarf Castle and you're already kind of in your mid-30s, and have a full party that you've already been leveling and working on, is he still a snap take?
Well, we have a Water Hag behind. We have 2 free bosses sitting in the Baron Inn. Dark Knight Cecil and a Water Hag. That's 2 fairly free bosses in a fairly easy spot. So, taking them out of the pool. I mean, we do have Golbez in the waterfall that no one's going to touch. But, yeah, that's 2 less free ones out there. Boneyc doing a little bit of doing a bit of a life glitch on a guard there. That's cute.
Getting the swoon procs with that black sword. I like it.
A kill is a kill. And a pink tail. Kane was holding on to that pink tail.
This is going to be an interesting question that's going to happen later in this seed, because the hook is going to enable us to turn in that rat tail and pink tail. It does also enable the launch the Falcon. But, and this is a question I want chat to be aware of, and just think about this in about an hour. If we're at 5 of 6 objectives done, and we then get the hook, do you stop and turn in the rat tail and pink tail, hoping to find one of the other objective things in the rat tail, or do you say, I'm in go mode, YOLO and just immediately go turn in the get the hook to the hovercraft to do the launch the Falcon. You might save yourself a couple minutes from not checking the two tails, or you might save yourself a whole lot of time from not having to do that long check in lieu of something else.
C2 opening the underground. Comment in chat thinking C2 might have forgotten that they've killed Demus to go and pick up that free item that's sitting in with Radia's mom in Mist Village. I'm sure it will come up later. If there's nothing behind the rat tail, it's no loss, but yeah, that is definitely a thing that C2 could go check.
So where do you go from here? The first question you get in the mid game, and it looks like C2 has said the first thing I want to do is cash in my one siren that I have in order to get some levels on multiple characters. It looks like, let me see, Edward is still at level 5, Kane is at a fresh level 10, so they will both be slingshot from here. That Odin did not work, unfortunately.
We're going to need to do something a little more decisive to get rid of this egg. Or
Using
to
a
get rid of the yellow
stopcast,
dragon.
yeah. Worth
Well,
pointing
stop
out,
does work,
Boney C has opted not to do the Baron Inn, I don't think.
Could just be a stop on the way, but yeah, you're right. It's usually, at least in my limited experience and what I've seen, if someone is throwing the magma key down the well, they're probably going underground. Well, we find star veils in the Agart item shop.
And there we go. That was the experience needed to get pretty much everyone online.
We are moving, at least. Now the big question is, where are all these key items that we need? So it's a question of checking places out. There is a check at the... you can go to the free item at Land of Summoned Monsters, which Boney C is going to get. There's also starting the Pan quest and seeing what Sheila 1 holds. We do eventually have to return the pan to Yang's wife, so that's not an especially attractive option unless Sheila is herself holding the pan. But if possible, you'd want to do all that at once.
It'd be nice, but sometimes the seed doesn't let you be nice.
Just a lunar staff with the free Town of Monsters chest.
I will say this much. I am a huge fan of what C2 did there. Said we had a lot of low-level party members. We're going into the underground a little bit under-leveled. Crack an egg. Get this party rolling. We now have two black mages, 2 melee characters, and a white mage. I would love to say, and a freebie in the Fey March.
Yeah, that is the King and Queen of Eblan, who in the King of Monsters position. So there's our third freebie, and we'll see what this generates for us, assuming they can survive the dreadful assault of fire that the King and Queen will bring down on them. Not a particularly magically strong spot, this one.
Well, even then, they don't... The King and Queen don't do heavy damage. this is a great replacement for that egg being cracked that C2 did. So this party is going to gain quite a bit of experience. Cecil's going to get slingshot.
And speaking of C2, they are headed behind the throne to find some dark imps hiding out there.
Another opportunity for Odin if we took off the heroine robe.
We're going to try it anyway. Do we see his ancestor? Whatever the thing is?
Cha-ching!
And some slicing, some dicing, and some julienning of fries. And in Golbez's spot, we know it's not Golbez, because he's busy having a shower. There's the Legend Sword, half of the first objective from the King of Monsters. And Mumbomb. Mumbomb is a tricky fight pretty much anywhere, and we've got a twin Porum. Oh, we're going to dismiss Edward for Porum. And Rydia grew up.
Who else did we... Oh, we got rid of our Rosa before? For Kane?
I don't believe that... Yeah,
C2
I
never
don't believe
did.
C2
Okay.
hasn't picked up Rosa, so... Hasn't done the package. Yeah, C2 has not gone to Fabul, and so does not have the package, and therefore has not burned the village, and has not seen Rosa.
Yeah, it's interesting trying to avoid the double dip of Fabul. I get the philosophy of trying to avoid the double dip of Fabul. I genuinely do. But I've also seen more runners lose races because they didn't get that early Fabul item, or they didn't get the experience from that fight, which is just so much experience for such an easy spot to get you to the right levels. I'm an advocate for early Fabul personally, because it's so rare that you can save the double dip. Just do it.
Well, we'll see if that pays off or not. I mean, I've said many times, it's easy to call something the right or wrong call after we see the results, but I've not really seen a runner make a mistake at this level. Just a call that turned out to be wrong.
Nope, that's fair.
Boneyc, meanwhile, is going to go into the Sylph Cave and trigger that Sheila 1 trigger and see what she happens to be holding. And on C2's side, we will see what Luca is wearing around her neck.
Meanwhile, it does look like Boney is setting up for Sheila 1. When you're in that neighborhood, it feels like what you're going to do, if Sheila 1 doesn't check out, you now have levels on a couple of melee characters. Hey, the Twin Harp is right there, and it's an objective anyway.
A very good point. We might see Cave Magnus happen here. Oh, Darkness Crystal. Excellent call, Nirukad in chat. There's the Darkness Crystal. Now, here's the really fun part. We don't know if that Darkness Crystal is required or not. We could find a pass. Cave Bahamut is the only moonbound objective. So, might not even need to go up there.
Yeah. Counterpoint. Giant grind.
Also true. There's lots of reasons to have that Darkness Crystal, but it's just saying really interesting that we might not need it.
No, and that's 100% fair. It does look like Boneyc is going to be getting our music, so stay tuned for that. But I come from the school of thought as a runner. do your grind early, because the longer you wait to do your grind, the less you can leverage it within the seed. So if you find a relatively early darkness crystal and sub 40 minutes, that's it's not average, it's a little early. Right now I'm looking at that going, yes, I am absolutely doing that. And if I have anyone, I thought I saw someone, we still have that Porum, I think, who, yeah, we can slingshot, is level 10. So definitely a double benefit to that. I would be doing that right now before doing any other checks, personally.
It looks like C2 is going to check everything possible in the underground before dealing with that darkness crystal, which also is something I can understand. Wanting to do things in clumps. Boneyc just about at the Dark Elf fight, and we will see. What lies there, and including what music we've got there. There's about 500 different tunes that have been transcribed for this harp, and we will hear which one has been randomly selected by the seed. Uh-oh, it looks like C2 may have reset without save.
Oh, no.
Lost about 10 minutes there.
Ooh. So, gotta redo these fights. Oh, no.
Oh, that hurts. Well, we got a Dark Elf here who's going to wipe out this party. And I think we are going to duck out of the way so that we can hear what the Bard is going to play for us.
DJ Spoony B spinning out his fat beats. Is that still a thing that kids say, or am I showing my age too much?
Like I would know.
Just checking. I don't know. Chat, does that mean I'm too old? Help me out.
Right. Well, we'll catch you on the flip side of that of the melodies. We had a vanilla Dark Elf being brought low by music from Mystic Quest.
That's always the Focus Tower is great music. Honestly, the whole Mystic Quest soundtrack is just fire. Best thing about that game. just a ninja hat, but hey, it's another objective down.
I would argue that the entirety of Square's Super Nintendo line had amazing music. Just almost top to bottom.
I mean, we all agree that Nobuo Uematsu is just, top five, uh, you know, writers of music
Modern
in terms of the
composers.
space. Yeah, just fantastic.
I don't even think
Um,
we need to limit that to video game space.
oh, no, no.
So C-2 is working hard to get back on their feet after that devastating reset without save.
Yeah, looks to be putting a lot of stock into the Odin cast, which, as we have mentioned kind of periodically, the fact that still wearing the heroine robe on Rydia is really
Now taking it
driving
off.
down. Yeah, there we go. Got to get the flame whip off. Lilith Rod, perfect. Great, great. Now you might get a swing there.
And Boneyc is going to go and complete that Baron Inn. Find the pink tail.
Our restreamer Alchemy pointing out in chat how the Odin mechanics work. It does, the success rate is based on, in part, Rydia's wisdom. So having things like the heroine robe and the flame whip certainly don't help, but it's effectively a coin flip before that calculation is even made. So you could still have fantastic stats and it would still be no better than a 50-50 shot.
And of
It
course, if
is,
Rydia gets hit before the Odin summon comes out, it does not help.
yeah, it's incredibly unlikely. So the fact that we had it first time, that one, C2 is definitely not feeling great. And frankly, we've all been there, like an accidental reset where you thought you saved, but you didn't, and you lose a ton of progress and didn't realize how lucky you were to squeeze through one particular fight. It's just kind of a tough spot to be in.
Boneyc easily handing the water hag a loss and taking the pink tail and wondering if going to claim that cane or not. Yeah, going to put Edward aside for the cane. Alchemy suggesting that one option would be a cover strat on Cecil with that heavy armor that we've got for him, which would make this fight a little easier for C2.
Luca, get out of the way. All right, so Boney at this point in time, let me see, has done. We are looking at probably. Boney hasn't done Dwarf, so that would be Darkness Crystal, which we could do. There's also Keyless Tower and that Sparkle in the Queen spot as well. I think that's the only things that Boney has not done yet, and we haven't seen two of those three. We know that
Boney has
Darkness
also
Crystal.
Boney has
Okay.
also set up Sheila 1, but hasn't gone to check it yet.
Oh, I thought we saw that.
Did we see that? I don't think Did Boney go back up to Fabul? Oh, power shirt from Sheila 1. My apologies, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I could have sworn I saw a power shirt somewhere.
You're absolutely right. These dark imps are taking no nonsense here.
They are quite punchy.
Oh,
And
there we
there's
go.
our
Zan
Odin.
Setsuksen. But not leaving a lot there for the second fight.
And then That's true. I think, meanwhile, Boney's levels are in a little bit better shape. I mean, other than Kane's, who immediately took over that Edward. Yeah, this Mom Bomb fight also not necessarily easy because Mom Bomb's still a little bit punchy here.
And she's moving
so
pretty
you have
quick.
to be careful. Yeah.
Yeah, when your healer goes down from full health in one hit, yeah, it's a bit touchy. We'll see if Azura has some... Nope, not going to get out. Okay, never mind.
I think you get your Cecil up so they can cover. Because Cecil should be able to cover this.
Here comes the explosion. We've got Mum Bomb on the other side, too, as Boneyc comes through here. A bit of a reversal from the last time they were both fighting the same fight.
And a failure to launch
was,
with that twin, yeah.
I think that was a twin, yeah. Oof. Damage being very inconsistent there.
This is the point in the seed that, again, I've mentioned it, I think we've all experienced it before as runners, where you start to get frustrated a little bit. You're going through and, the community phrase is tilted, right? Where one mistake leads to more mistakes, leads to making bad plays, and you start getting frustrated with yourself.
And you can easily get hung up on one idea and one thought and stuck there.
Yeah, and it's one of the things in the speedrunning community, especially in a randomizer community, that you have to learn to adapt to and overcome, because there's a lot of different races across a lot of tournaments. Everyone will feel that at some point in their speedrunning career. How you overcome it and how you kind of can sit in that emotion, in that adrenaline, and how you adapt to it is significant in how you will proceed throughout a tournament.
C-2 deciding to open some monster chests in the Land of Summoned Monsters. Hopefully this will be a good grind. Will Odin favor us? No. Odin being very coy.
No, but we have a Quake online, and if Quake Kid has some decent equipment, that's not going to do it. We're going to need another one.
Boneyc, meanwhile, heading back down into the Land of Summoned Monsters, probably to take on that queen. I can't think of any other reason unless there's something down here in the item shop that I missed. Yeah, going down to the weapon shop.
Yeah, nothing there. I think with the Darkness Crystal said, hey, I want to get another axe for my cane.
Seems like a reasonable decision. So let's see what Lunar Sparkle is sitting in the Queen's spot. It is Plague.
Perfect. Great. This is one of my favorite spots for Plague.
And why is that?
Because it's very, very easy to set yourself up to, one, zerk up, whatever characters you are, But because you're walking through the poison spots to get to here, it's really easy to set up having someone be knocked over, kill them real quick, and just kind of reset the plague cycle as often as you need to. It's just very, very easy to set it up to the point where it's almost free.
Looks like Plague may have been a little slow for it, though. Hallam passing out before Plague resetting the count. Hallam and Cecil both passing out before Plague resetting the count.
It happens. We have
unfortunately
Rydia throwing.
Yeah, C2 unfortunately having to reset out of that warrior fight. And now heading back into the darkness, or into the Dwarven Castle, try and get the Darkness Crystal. It's interesting because, I'm again, in the power of hindsight, we know that there's a lot of experience sitting in the basement of the Town of Monsters that's not that hard to get. But C2 doesn't know that.
Right, and I think just going and checking, doing the warrior chest there, those dark imps.
Even with the rough situation, the game is not cutting C2 any slack here.
No, we joke about board AI, Boardface, of course, the original programmer of the Free Enterprise randomizer. It seems like there's an intelligence that says, who's the key member? We're going to focus fire on that party member. And it's not actually a thing. We joke about it. But it feels like it a lot, doesn't it?
I can imagine. Plague has gone down on Boneyc's side, and we are going to see what is hiding in the Queen of Monsters spot. We have a ninja sword. Nice, I guess. Well, C2 has cleared out the Dark Imps again, and we have another fight with Mumbomb upcoming.
All right, so we have another Mom Bomb. Let me see. We're the only other place that Boney has not checked that we have access to at this point in time is the top of tower, doing a keyless tower check, which some runners really like doing. I don't want to sugarcoat it at all. Some runners really like doing a keyless tower because it's so unappealing.
Yeah, because
Boney
the
says,
idea
nah,
no one else will, right?
well, plus it's easy to reset out of. If you're not opening any treasure chests and you don't have the tower key, it's right up to the top of the tower, which will take you about 40 seconds. Bop the boss, which is, it has a large HP pool, it is very slow. And it has very, very weak magic there. So if you find something that has, its script is a normal magic attacker, like Maga Sisters, for example, it's great to see high magic people there because the magic attack is just bad. And then if it's nothing, you can reset.
Adding to C2's woes, Azura gives life. Which does get Kane back up, but probably not what C2 was looking for at that point.
How much work has having an earlier white mage with Rosa on Boney's side made for a lot of these fights that, right now C2's struggling with, all because wanted to double dip the Fagul jet.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons C2 has been so focused on this fight is because it gives Zepporum.
Right.
And we get to see who is hiding on the moon. Mumbomb going to her explode phase on C2's side, and we got Young up there on the moon.
I think I'm good. Like, I've already invested everything.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, gonna dismiss Kane for for Yang.
Interesting. I wonder if that's because we have a Thunderclaw and we don't have a second axe.
And C2 gets off an Indra summon against the 6 bombs and finally clears the board. Probably breathing a sigh of relief. They'll get the Darkness Crystal back again, and we'll see what they do with it.
Boney
If you're
trying to
Boney
figure
C,
out. Okay, yeah.
If you're Boney C, do you check Cave Bahamut? We've already seen a lot of the free bosses go, so I'm not sure that there's much that could be worthwhile in checking, but yeah, maybe it's maybe not free, but something that's takeable. While you're here, might be worth clearing that one off the board.
Actually, no. Because right now we are setting up to do the Mac Giant grind. Right now.
That's right where he's
not
going, in fact, yeah.
Yeah, not setting up. Said I have charm arrows, which do quite a bit of damage. Yang is going to be slingshot because just level 10. And you don't want any additional experience to interfere with that slingshot. So we still rocking double black mage at this point in time, so we're probably in. I don't know. I would guess we're probably going to try to take out 8 to 10 Mac Giants or so on Boney's side. I got to imagine C2 will be doing something similar as well.
Yeah, C2 getting the big whale out from the ocean. And Boney going to go in to do a Mac Giant grind. And basically try to figure out where they are in a step count to see if they can get the right Searcher type enemy. Yes, it's not fighting individual Mac Giants, but looking for a Searcher type enemy so that we'll summon Mac Giants upon hit.
Yeah, this is interesting. We do have setups to do kind of a manipulation to set it up so that you're guaranteed to get the next one. There's certain step counts. Other folks just, for lack of a better term, like to go in raw and said, hey, we're just going to go until we find the single Searcher.
Just dive in and see what shows up. That won't be the right Searcher, will it, with 2 machines in front of it?
No, and that's a great point. There's several fights that have Searchers in them. You're looking for the encounter that is only a single Searcher. Nothing else. The D Machine grind does have a couple of beamers in them, but we're not looking for that. We're looking for Searcher.
C2 has declined to take Yang and is heading into the lunar subterrane.
It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it plays out.
I'm very curious as to what they might be looking for here.
Well, I think if you're C2 and you recognize the struggle that you just got through and you're now here, you feel like you have to make a play. Oh, here's the fight. Boney's now at the fight. When you're in this position at C2 is you get into kind of a heavy gamble fight just because you have to salvage something. So diving immediately to the bottom of the lunar subterrane, saying we're gonna hope that there's something that I can cheese somehow under here. I think this is probably the correct play, knowing what C2 knows, to go ahead and just do this.
We are looking for a lot of key items still. We don't know where the Adamant is. We don't know where the Baron Key is. We don't know where the Hook is. And we don't know where the Pan is. Some of those are going to be required. If all of them happen to be up here, this could be a big comeback play.
Yeah, I think this is what you got to do if you're C2. So I love this gamble. It's something. We'll see if there's something that's relatively quick. I think you might spot check a couple of the bosses. That's not quick. It's doable, but it's not quick.
Yeah. Well, CPU's damage, aside from Globe 199, is all based on your maximum hit points. So fighting CPU at low levels is doable, but like you say, it's not fast. There's a Pale Dim.
This is completely doable, as long as you only do physical damage. And Cecil and you cover with Cecil. Well, as long as you don't summon. If you set it up properly, that would be a great fight to do.
Yeah, pointing out in chat that C2 doesn't know where the package is, and that's true. That's not false. It's certainly very available to C2 if they choose to go and take on Fabul. But that is also only one specific objective. Cave Magnus, we already have the Twin Harp, we've had it from the start. Cave Magnus is also available. So, the elements fight at the Ogopogo spot could be real ugly.
Yeah, no. That's something that even high-level parties could struggle with. The other two, though, both CPU and Pale Dim, very doable at that spot with these levels.
We're not going to see a behemoth fight. I think if you're here, you go after CPU. You just take the big experience boost.
Yeah, because that spot doesn't have a ton of HP, as I recall. Like, it might be relatively slow, but you have a heroin robe and decent bows and arrows. Plague is weak. Or no, it's not Plague. It's CPU is... they don't float. They look like they float, they don't float.
Even if you don't have levels, you do have equipment.
Yeah, you can get through that fight.
Yeah, we're checking to see what's where and who's doing what. Officer and Soldier, this
Freebie.
is potentially doable. Oh, and they're not hitting hard. This is the Wyvern spot. Oh, yeah, I stand corrected. They are hitting hard. But we are going to try... I'm going to pull out Odin again.
Yes.
And if Rydia is at 99 hit points, she will be covered. And Odin decides not to be shy this time. That will be a big boost in experience. And let's see if that also gives us an interesting key item to work with.
Lots of levels here.
And the Adamant. Hello. That's an interesting thing to pick up. Now, C2 doesn't know where the Legend Sword is, but that is still half of the first objective. So,
and the Legend Sword, remember, was being held by another free fight, King and Queen Eblin, in the King of the Feymarch spot. So, both sides of Forge, free fights.
There couldn't be further apart geographically, but yeah. One of them in the deepest depths of the Underworld, and the other one high up on the moon.
I think that Bahamut Orb just answered a lot of prayers from C2, because we've been looking for something for our Rydia, because we've had lots of equipment on Rydia to be able to just tear through stuff, but no decent summons, no Leviathan. I mean, the best sweeper we found has been casting Indra. So, in addition to everything else, that Bahamut Orb, yeah, that's enough to get C2 to say, I'm good.
Yeah, so we'll see what C2 is going to do with that. Going to go back into the lunar subterranean, looks like. Oh, maybe not. Going to save first. Don't make the same mistake twice. But in terms of being on the path to recovery from that reset without save, this is proving to be possible. Sometimes you take those big plays and run with them and hope they work, and sometimes they do. So.
Yep, this is a Murra check here, and resetting out of another behemoth.
I think the elements at Ogopogo is probably just going to be left well enough alone, but the CPU still looks pretty takeable to me. And so does Pale Dim. And if that happens to be where, say, the Hook and the Baron Key are, that puts this game very much into play.
All right, so here's the Murra altar.
Well, Mylon Zed there.
Still very doable. I would prefer Cecil in the back row for cover, but otherwise, this is fine. It doesn't not particularly punchy.
Yeah, what's your normal? This is Pale Dim's normal spot, right?
Correct, yeah.
Well, he's punchy enough to wipe out Porum in a single shot. Here comes Bahamut. And viruses coming from Palamute, and Kane just getting annihilated. Ugh.
Yeah, this place can still be punchy. If you have the armor, it's perfectly fine. Cecil, like I said, this is where Cecil's cover stress. There's a lot of things where Cecil cover stress would really benefit C2. Oh, and I didn't see the experience output. We are done with the grind on Boneyc Seaside.
Mylan shrugging off his second Bahamut. And Boneyc gonna walk out all that precious experience.
Question in chat here from General Gourmalt. How do the experienced runners like playing Seeds with a set agility anchor who can't skip experience games to those where you aren't restricted? It changes the scene. It is more challenging to have a very sort of C hero setup because you have to prepare for any sort of agility setup for Zemus in particular. Fast agility, slow agility, you have to know kind of your different agility breakpoints. You have to know the equipment that you can use to manipulate agility. Crystal rings, ninja hats, the various equipment for everyone, dwarf axes, drain swords and spears, etc. So it's a bigger knowledge check in the game. And really it takes experience. Like, it's just a different game mode that you have to play to get enough experience with, versus the very easy knock someone over or pick up a character late game, put them in the middle and call it good. That's
Bahamut,
much easier.
Bahamut doing work here and taking out Mylan Zed for C2, and there's the Hook. Hello. This could be really interesting coming into this late game. We've got Boneyc fighting Baigan at Cave Bahamut. That's going to be an ugly spot for Baigan. Mind you, I don't particularly like Baigan anywhere, but Baigan is hitting real hard there.
Yeah. That being said, again, Cover Cecil does a lot of work. That hook is really interesting because, I mean, one, you can get an objective. It's not an objective I want to see. Frankly, I don't want to launch the Falcon. More to the point, that rat tail that C-2 I think is forgotten about because that was at Rydia's mom's spot, right?
That's where it was, yes. So yeah, there's that rat tail. He's also got the pink tail, which just on its own could provide a nice piece of equipment. And while we're here, C2 is going to go check out Baigen and take that one on. Cave Bahamut being one of these important objectives to clear.
It'll be interesting because we do have the more powerful Bahamut summon on Rydia on C2 side. That said, this is a very, very, very punchy Baigen.
Yeah, the numbers say a lot here. Well, that first hit right on Cecil, direct shot on Cecil, knocking him straight down from the first from word one. So I don't know that C2 is going to have the numbers to take this. Boneyc, meanwhile, clearing the fight. Gives us the tower key. 2 key items in the Tower of Babel underground.
Well, we've done our objectives. We're now at 4 key items. We know where the hook is for a 5th key item and turning in another location. We also know where the adamant rock is.
Boneyc is going to go check out some of those altars,
which I think is probably the right play. You have 2 checks. You've already faded one kind of intentionally, so you're probably thinking, I want to make sure that if I go underground, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, we have, you and I have the knowledge necessary to complete the seed. The runners do not yet. C2 going to set up Sheila 1. So do you think Boneyc takes out the elements?
Let's see. I think it depends on what we're going to find. Ooh, Bimmy and Jimmy.
Young and Cecil are just going to do a ton of defensive work for Boneyc.
Yep.
Although taking hits like that, yikes. Cecil is going to do maybe a little less defensive work than I thought. And Boneyc, even after that grind, just not doing that fight. Oh,
yeah, I think that's a function of just not having...
Did we have another reset without save? No, okay. No, he did it.
Oh, no. Okay, well, redo the Baigen fight. Oof.
Not quite as devastating as C2's, but still gets you in that mindset where you feel like you're trailing, where you feel like you've lost time. And I mean, reasonably you have, but it gets you in that mindset, gets you in that place.
Oh,
C2
see,
not
whoa,
doing a free
whoa,
fight.
that. Oh, okay.
That's unfortunate, because that's where the Legend Sword is, and that would be a goal. C2, I think, heading up to the Mist Cave. Dropping a save here. Maybe going to complete Cave Magnus. I think at this point, if you're C2, you probably just need a breath and to accomplish something. You need to get something off your list of to-do. So even if you're thinking this is not the good move, even if you're thinking this is not what you need to do, you do have to get something done. You need to feel like you're making progress. So, yeah, you go do it. You do the check that you've got available to you. You make chat happy with some music, and you get a chance to take a breather, and hopefully get yourself in a bit of order to try and figure out what you're going to do next.
Take the time. You're plenty safe with the levels that you have. Mid-30s, yeah, this is plenty safe. Take some time, think about your next steps. What are you going to do? And absolutely, that's something that is really underestimated, I think, for runners is time to think. When you do have the ability to just take a step back and say, here's what I got to do. It's an objective. I got to do this anyway. It's a little bit mindless. Let me breathe. Let me think for a second.
And then to just feel like you're getting somewhere, to feel like you're doing something, just makes so much of a difference. Um, just that the mindset can be so much of a powerful influence. Anyway, we are going to have music again, so we will duck out and let some tunes from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest soothe the savage beast or whatever it is you happen to be doing at home today, and we'll catch you on the flip side. I suppose we could talk now if we want.
I mean, well,
Run.
it's now done, so.
We've got Boneyc headed down to the lunar subterrane, looking
Oh,
for some of those last key items. And we've got C-2 taking out the Dark Elf and completing their second objective, receiving the Ninja Hat. And taking a couple laps around, just get that energy out. Boneyc taking on the Pale Dim at the Ribbon Room.
uh, casting plenty of black magic. It's interesting. Pale Dim does have a script. Obviously, when casting, you want to make sure you're not summoning against Pale Dim because he does have a counter script to cast Quake if you use a summon on him. Otherwise, he will just counter all physical attacks with the slow spell. But non-elemental damage, quakes, nukes, viruses, they're fine. Let him fly.
And this is normally the D-Lunar spot, so this is going to have a fair bit of hit points, but nothing undoable. C2 finally doing Febble Castle. I'm going to find a package, so maybe we'll see that cleared along with the Mist Dragon check.
Opting for power overwhelming against these poor level 10 zombies.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, at a certain point, you're done. You want to burn everything, so burn it. Go for it. I'm here for it.
That's perfectly fine. It's very satisfying to just bulldoze over something. Rewarded with the package.
And while here, no doubt, we'll check Sheila 1 and be given that power for that power shot. Oh, maybe not. Oh, maybe.
Remember, it was like, oh yeah, I set that up, didn't I? One thing to note on Boney Seasides, I think looks like we're still rocking the Charm Claw on Yang's side, which the Charm Claw is nice against the Mac Giants, but that's it. Otherwise, it has lower accuracy and actually hurts the damage output of Yang.
So we'll see what C2 does with that package. There's 2 checks it missed still. One of them has the rat tail, the other one has Rosa.
Oh, I think
And
we're
C2
finally getting it.
And C2 does have the hook to turn in that rat tail, too.
So while it did take a long time to check Rydia's mom to get that rat tail, ultimately the check has not really done anything for Boney C because didn't have the hook to be able to turn it in. Just
And, well, look at that! Look
Wow.
at them ninja swords, both the Masamune and the Murasame.
all the
No
Hanzo
use.
steel.
Yeah. No
That being
functional
said,
use,
yeah.
unfortunately.
C2 will be the first one to be able to take advantage of having that, having it done, and says, "Yeah, we got to do this." Wonder if, given how many levels Porum already has, we're gonna say, "No, I'm not turning in my white mage, or I'm not getting my Rosa now because I don't need it."
Central processing unit on Boney's side. Only 23,000 hit points and change, it looked like.
Oh, we're in kind of a spot right now because our white mage went down on Boney's seaside and doing percentage-based damage. Uh, we're in. It's kind of rough right now. Yang is only going to take a couple more hits. We need Rosa to cast some cure magic.
Boney's getting her back on her feet, but whether or not she'll stay there is the question. No, ooh, it's a bit of a tough loss.
It is.
What are we
It
gonna
is
see here?
strange. Yeah, when you're trying to set up and go through. Oh, just a dragoon.
Just a
Sorry.
dragoon armor, and the pink tail. An Avenger. Well, that's
I don't hate it.
interesting.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, no. I think C-2 still has Kane, too, so he's got a target for that Avenger as well.
Well, even Cecil can wield it, so
Oh, for sure.
it just negates his main use up to this point in the seed, which has been his ability to cover.
Is C-2 going to complete and get that Rosa?
Says, yeah, they wants the white mage. Interesting.
You could have 2 white and 2 black mages and Cecil as your final party. That's a lot of magic to throw around, and it could make for a very quick Zeromus fight using reflex strats. Boneyc trying the float strats to get the attacker off the ground, and unfortunately hit the CPU. So Quake is not going to be doing much use there. And Leviathan goes down easy for C2, of course, at this point. Decision. Oh, we're going to dismiss one white wizard for another.
No, that was Palom.
Oh, Palom. I'm sorry. I cannot keep the twins in order. But isn't Palom the white wizard, though?
No, Palom's the black mage.
Oh, yes, that's right. Porum's the white wizard. Yeah. Never mind me. This is why I don't do commentary alone.
It's all right. Yeah, I don't know how I remembered it when I was a kid. Like, I know there was some trick. Palom, Porum.
Someone
I
once
know
told
it's
me
supposed
that
to be left and
Porum,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Porum has Porum with an R has a red cape, which is great if you're not randomizing colors, and it still doesn't actually tell me which one does what. So, oh well, now with that low-level Rosa taking the easy fights at the bottom of the Cave of Summoned Monsters, will in fact potential for slingshotting. Porum has the red shirt, not the red cape. Thank you, Xenocat. I can't even keep my mnemonics straight.
See, I think it was Porum with an R has her ponytail on the right side only. As she walks, of course, it switches back and forth. And Palom has his ponytail on the left side, L, Palom. But again, as they walk, it switches back and forth. So.
If C2
That's correct.
goes down
Only
and
if they
takes
take
out the Yeah, Nerukad is pointing out that if C2 goes down and takes out the king and Queen Evelyn in the king spot, gets the Legend Sword, that puts them into go mode.
That's right.
Because that
We'll
would
have the
give them,
Falcon, yeah,
yeah,
and be able to complete Bahamut.
be able to complete Bahamut. And speaking of Bahamut, that does a number on those
Oh,
warriors. C2 getting, oh, hello, there's the pan.
all right. So here's the issue that we have right now. The things that Boneyc needs to be in go mode, like we know that C2 seems to be on the path to go mode right now to being able to forge, then just has to launch the Falcon and return the pan. Boneyc does not have the hook, does not, I mean, now has the pan, but also doesn't know where the other part of Forge is and doesn't know where the hook is, and is leaving the moon now, where we know those two objectives are. So, in order for this play to make sense, the pan has to lead somehow to the Baron key. If that Baron key ends up being buried, for example, somehow behind that elements fight, for example,
Ooh, that's an evil
we're
thought.
then C2, despite all that time being lost, will have an edge in terms of getting things done. Now, I think that's a low percentage chance, but it's possible.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely possibilities here. The other place it could be, the Baron Key could be somewhere in the Tower of Babel. We do have both those checks to do, and Boneyc does have the Tower Key. So we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, and I think if you've abandoned them, but now you have said bye to the rest of the moon, you're probably thinking, okay, we'll go ahead and figure this out
Well,
back on
Boneyc
Earth.
is also looking at three missing at a check. Oh, there's the Luca key. That just adds more fun to this pile.
Just more rabbit holes. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
But Boneyc is looking at 3 key items missing for 3 objectives and only needs to hit 1. So if it's the pan, it's ready to go, and it's got to turn in the pan anyway. If it's somewhere in the tower or in the Luca cave now, then we're ready to go there too. So.
And this is why, for anyone who's watching this seed, never give up.
Yeah,
Never
just
give up, because you
push through.
never know how things are going to play out in a randomizer seed.
And it's the spoon. The vanilla spoon. So, while that does take an objective off of Boneyc's list, leaving them with 1 objective to do, my goodness, he hasn't got the key items to complete it. The adamant and the hook, we know, are both on the moon, so we're looking for the Baron key in either the Tower of Babel or in the Cave of Darkness. So
Well,
we'll
top of
see.
tower or the tower key. So we have 2 checks to make. I think. Oh,
3
what?
checks total. Oh, he's going to check the Cave of Darkness first?
Yeah, we're going to check Luca Cave first. It says, okay, we're going to do a safety save outside because we'll reset out. And I honestly like this because I think it's still leveraging. It says, hey, I got the pan in something that I think is out of the way. And with that, C2 is in go mode.
C2 is in go mode. We have the Legend Sword and the Adamant to forge. We have the hook to launch the Falcon, and Cave Bahamut is completable. C2 is ready to go. Just needs some power.
I will say that ready to go, yes. But that Baigan at Bahamut spot, remember, C2 has not done any grinding up to this point in time. Boneyc did spend about 10 minutes on that Mac Giant grind. It's rough to do that Bahamut spot if you're not doing any grinding and you haven't set your Cecil up to be able to do cover strats properly.
So we'll see what happens there. Heroin robes for sale, along with white spears.
along with drain spears. If you have an edge, that's the best dart you can get.
But we don't have an edge.
I know.
Okay, and at the basement of Lucan Key is
Oh,
the Baron Key.
wow.
Oh, now this is exciting. Not that it hasn't been so far.
Would you like a race? Would you like a race?
We've got the antlion to take out in this spot. Shouldn't be too much of a problem at these levels, but very fast.
Looks like we have nuke on Rydia, which means I think we probably have nuke on Palom as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all them spells were set up. C-2 heading quickly to launch the Falcon. Well, as quick as you can.
Yeah, this is one that, again, feels bad. This is probably my least favorite objective to complete. Because it's either something that you're going to do as you get into the underground anyway, or it's something that you absolutely hate doing because it takes a long time and it doesn't result in another key item check anyway. So, question for chat, for those of you who are also runners of Free Enterprise, what's your least favorite objective that you've seen in this particular tournament so far? Mine's Launch the Falcon. I will die on that hill 100%.
We see complete the Giant of Babel, deal with the sealed cave. I think completing the Giant of Babel with its 2 huge bosses at the end could be a monster. If you see the wrong boss up there, it could take you quite a while.
Yeah, here's the thing though. If you complete the Giant of Babel, you know you're doing a Mac Giant grind. You just know. It's like, okay, this is going to be a required part of the seed.
We're there already, so yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead and do it. So. Yeah, probably. If you're C2, you're probably looking for weapons of some sort. It's worth noting that. Go ahead.
Sorry. As a side note, I think that's like the 7th Odin orb we've found. And there's Sid and the Calbrena dolls. Yeah, could be looking for equipment, or could possibly be looking for those fights just to get that little bit more experience.
Already in kind of the mid-30s, so we have plenty of experience to get through here. That and Bahamut go Burr. At this point in time, you have a Mist Whip and a Tiara on your Rydia with a Bahamut summon. Rydia go Burr.
So we know it was a Sparkle, I think, that was standing in the Beigen spot. Yep. And we don't know who's on the throne yet, but we will find out. When it's the Lunar Dragons.
This will be fine.
Oh, probably. This would have been a problem had this been done, more in order than it is. But yeah, the Lunar Dragons are not going to pose much of a fight here at this spot at this time.
Let's see, in order to get into Baron, we had to do Luca and then do the Pan route. And before that, it was on that came from the White Spear altar, didn't it? So,
yep,
kind of a long way to get here.
And we have the Magus Sisters sitting on the throne that go down to a single Quake. And that clears Boneyc's final objective and puts us ready to head... Oh, and it's Edward who's sitting around. I imagine Edward will be refused.
We got that spoon, though. Come on.
Oh, but Boneyc's already done the grind. Decides to put a door and an antlion fang in the way of the crushing doors or crushing walls. And it's only a protect ring sitting down there. 6 objectives completed. We will be obtaining the crystal.
Just a reminder, as C2 completes this Mad Ogre check, and we'll have to be making a long walk back down to the Lunar Subterrane. Never found the pass, unfortunately. But if just a shout out to all of the folks who work behind the scenes here, not just my co-commentator Organ Mike, but also Darth Plagueul for doing our wonderful tracking for us, and of course Alchemy for the restream. If this sounds like it'd be fun to you, and trust me, we have a lot of fun here, and you'd like to join our restream team, we are looking for volunteers to help us out on the restream side of things. Join us over on our Discord. Send us a quick message, ask us how it's done. We'll have a couple questions for you, but always looking for volunteers. Come out and join us. And if you're watching this and you haven't joined us on Discord anyway, why not? Just come on. We're about the friendliest spot on the internet you can find. So we'd love to have you just join and talk about it. And if you'd like to help us out in the meantime, we'd love to have you.
So, interesting development. On C2's side, Cecil now has a light sword.
You know what the ironic thing is? The ironic thing is, yeah.
Strong against holy, yeah. Yeah, the only questions, Xenocat saying to help make sure we can give you credit. Yeah, Vitasia being so kind to shout everyone else out. We should also shout out Vitasia, my co-commentator, for keeping me on the straight and narrow, among other things. And of course our 2 runners, Boneyc and C2. If this sort of running is something you'd like to do, or again, if commentary or restreaming is something you'd be interested in, please look us up. I'm fond of saying I haven't run a seed in years, and they still let me talk on the mic. They just stick someone better with me to make sure that I don't screw up too much. So if this is something you think you'd like to do, by all means, hit us up, volunteer, do your part for the community, join in, and have a great time.
Oh, so here's, dolls are ruling our path through the underground. So C2 is going to deal with what is honestly kind of not a bad fight. I like seeing dolls here because if I have a sweeper that can take everything out, like Quake or Bahamut or what have you, this goes pretty quick.
And I think Quake and Bahamut are both coming into play, so a little bit of slow to make sure those dolls don't get a chance to combine.
Oh,
meanwhile,
we do have...
done... Oh, we don't have Quake, sorry, it's just Bahamut. We've got 2 white mages and a black, that's right. Boneyc is headed into the sub-subterrane, walking down, done a last save, a last equipment check. We're seeing Z flags pop up in chat. So, as we're fond of saying, Zemus is far too dangerous to just randomize into the rest of the bosses. So instead of randomizing into the rest of the bosses, we randomize who Zemus is, not where Zemus is. We give them one of the different sprites, up to about 600 now, completely randomly generated by the flag set, or by the seed. And so that leaves us with one question, which is, this afternoon, whose butt are we going to kick?
That was very well done. I appreciate your dedication to the meme. I really do, Mike.
It's my pleasure, really. And also, every broadcast has the potential to be someone's first, so maybe someone didn't know that before this. And now they do. So Zeromus is just going to sit there and quake until the crystal is used. Meanwhile, C-2 is launching the Falcon.
Worth noting, this is going to be a very, very safe fight for Boneyc. Setting up a Star Veil on Young, so definitely intended on having Black Mages reflect nukes off. I wonder if we're going pure reflect strats, or because of the nature, because we got that Avenger Sword, we're going more of a hybrid. Will be interesting to see where Boney decides. Oh wait, Boney didn't get the Avenger.
I don't think Boney has the Avenger. And we've got someone I don't know. Awesome. Zemus.
I might need some help. Kadaj from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Okay.
Yep. So we see the slow come out, which is responded to with a nuke. This lowers Zeromus' magic power, meaning that the big bang that follows this will not be as strong as it should be. Zeromus has a habit of moving his magic power up and down to accommodate various different spells that they use, so... Meanwhile, reflecting nukes onto Zeromus does not trigger a counterattack, because reflected spells do not trigger reaction abilities.
Yep, and that can be used throughout the entire game, not just on Zeromus. It's the most prominent use, but phase changes on the Elements fight is another big one.
Anything that's got a counterattack, really.
Anything that has a counter, so...
And Boneyc is just going to shrug off that big bang. I don't even think it did half damage to any of the characters. Even that low hit point Rydia. And is just going to keep up the assault. One of the other things that is a reaction ability is Zeromus' refilling of the hit points. The traditional refilling of the hit points that happens after 40,000, 41,000 damage, which makes this fight twice as long as it really needs to be. This fight is not going to be twice as long as it really needs to be, because Zeromus will not have that reaction ability available to him to refill his hit points. And so with 10,000 damage being dealt by a casual nuke, and some pretty hefty whites coming in, we're going to see this fight be over fairly quickly, I think.
It will be relatively quick. We have the cure coming out for the Big Bang. Part of the reason Young is so nice having here, because that massive HP pool says, I don't even have to worry about his health from start to finish.
And we're seeing C-2 take on Baigen. We'll see how well this goes. A little bit lower level even than Boneyc was at the time.
Yeah, we can see it was about an hour ago that Boney did the grind, and all the leverage, being able to cleanly clear up just everything, has really led to an advantage overall on Boneyc. Probably more places checked and been able to get through things fairly quickly. Meanwhile, we do have some cover strats going on right now, but it is... Oh no, I think got that Bahamut summoned too quickly. Yeah, that Bahamut is summoned too quickly. It's only going to deal damage to the body.
And Boneyc just giving us a clinic on how you handle reflect strats on Zeromus, or on Kadajmus if you prefer. Take it slow, take it easy, just continue on.
Meanwhile, C2, much cleaner fight this time around on Baigen, has kind of a good rhythm set up.
The difference when we get those covers in helps out, especially because Cecil isn't going down to a single hit anymore. And we see Kadajmus sinking down into the ether on Boneyc's side as C2 finishes up their 6th objective. So, this was actually a much closer race than it looked like a few times.
Yeah, it's
GG
going to
to
be very
Boneyc.
close.
Yeah.
GG Boney C. C2 will need to do a bit of a grind before Zemus, but otherwise, GG's to Boney C. Moving on to 2-0 in this tournament, which is just, everyone. If you're in this tournament, it's going to be a close race. The 2-0 crowd, though, is just filled with absolute death march of runners right now. Just the 2-0 groups are a who's who of the free enterprise community.
And that's why I'm over here on the sidelines. I mean, again, haven't played a seed in years, so regardless of that, we are also going to watch through the credits. I'm curious to see where the pass might actually have been. Lord Goober saying, those with dumb luck. Well, you know what? As someone who runs a lot of games that have a lot of RNG in them, you have to be ready to take advantage of the luck when it's there. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. It's not just being lucky, you have to be good to take advantage of that luck. And I think that noise in my earphones says that we have Boneyc with us. Is that correct?
That is me. All right, there.
Well done. Good game.
Thank you. It was interesting seed. It felt like a treasure hunt towards the end.
Certainly looked like it. It was definitely interesting.
Yeah, we were gonna to ask a few different things about the seed. Starting out, 3 of the objectives were dead-end objectives, and of course they give you 2 of them right out of the gate in the package and the sand ruby. Did that change your approach, or how did that early game really play into things?
Yeah, because the way I tend to play is I very much focus on objectives. So where the route that I took, most of it was pretty much straightforward. But the moment the ad line was the Sand Ruby, I was pretty much dead set on just going for that little route in the desert, just to make sure I check off those objectives, maybe get some nice characters out of it. I already knew that the Eddie was the Sand Ruby at that point, but yeah, I just felt like just to stick it off. I know I have DMIS to check as well, right? Because I have that item and I have package, and I saw the rose. I'm like, well, you know what? Let's just make it an entire trip, and eventually I'll just get back to what I usually do, which is then go for bull and ordeals and whatnot. Like I in that sense, it's a small detour, but it's a detour to make sure I don't forget these things.
Well, it certainly showed up nicely for you, though you didn't get a chance to turn in that rat tail that you picked up from Mist.
No, that never really came to. I never found Hook either. I don't know where that was, because I scoured Overworld and Under, but either it
Want
was
to know?
Tower or Moon, I guess. Yeah.
Want to know?
Go for it.
Mesa altar.
Oh.
C2 went there.
Right.
C2 found it.
Gotcha.
So we did get to see, actually, the two of you diverged pretty early and quite significantly. We got to see most of this world. So it was actually really interesting to note the different choices that you and your opponent made.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because for me it was my overworld. Yeah, besides just doing those 2 objectives, went the way I would usually go for it, and when I do get either access to the underground, that's where I want to make sure, in this case, make sure I just have a quake, right? Make sure I have some levels, get blink, those types of things, just to make sure I'm always ahead of the curve, and there are bosses, whatever it may be, I can deal with. I think at some point I saw Plague on Queen, and I was like, sure, I could do it now, but yeah, let's just do some other things. I'll come back for it in a little bit. Turned out to be nothing, but hey, that's just how it goes sometimes.
Well, that's the thing about randomizers, right?
True.
Anything you'd like to comment about the seed? Anything caught your eye? Was particularly interesting?
Yeah, I at some point it ended in a 4 out of 6, and I don't know if it was the same for C2, but yeah, it turned into like, I guess I gotta go to the moon and hope I checked the right thing. At that point, I think the only thing I didn't do was tower, because I didn't have tower key. But other than that, anything that I could have done, I had done. The only thing that was I found myself silly and realizing, fortunately in time, was the Bahamut spot, because I did the Bahamut spot with Baigan, then I walked into the lunar subterrane, and I don't know why. Sometimes I just have these moments. I decided to just go loot, and I'm like, why am I even looting? I never do this, but here I am. Just this idea of maybe I'll find something fun. Maybe I'll meet a behemoth, and I was like, Dragon, like, I forgot how to fight dragons. Why am I doing this again? And I just decided to reset, only to realize I never saved the Baigan fight. I had to do Baigan again. So I felt very silly at that point. But other than that, I knew it was a matter of just finding the key item to move me towards go mode. So the moment I saw Pan, I was like, you know what? Let's just go Pan again, following objectives. And I'm happy I found Baron in the end.
Yeah, there was some talk about it. It had turned into something of a race there between the two of you, going, like I said, completely different directions. In the end, C2 did forfeit, but also did find their 6, did get their 6 goals done. They were just needing a grind before they headed to Zeromus, but yeah, they'd gone a completely different direction and had found a route that was equally viable, which was super interesting from our point of view anyway.
I can definitely see that. Yeah, I mean, the way the seed felt, like, yeah, it could have definitely. I could see another route being possible in all of this. Like I said, it feels like just making that right choice, whatever the seed throws at us. Hope that I don't end up zonking too much and miss out on the right key items. I was really hoping for Adamant, but I saw Baron, like, all right, we'll do Baron. It's still go mode, but in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, Adamant would be faster. So, regardless, I'm very curious to watch it back.
Adamant was also on the moon. That was one that C2 found as well.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
I think that was at the Crystal Sword Altar. Whatever the case. Or maybe I've got those mixed up. I can't remember now. You can see it all on the VOD when you watch it back.
Yeah.
Any final comments, last words, anything else you'd like to add before we sign off for the day?
No, just a thank you to C2 for the race, and thank you all for covering, tracking, and streaming the match to everyone. I'm looking forward to the next matches for today. I believe there's still a match ongoing at this point, actually. Very curious how that is going. But yeah, just looking forward to the rest of the tournament.
All right, well, it's thank you. We wouldn't have anything to comment or restream if you guys weren't running, so always happy to do it. So good game again.
GG's fun this time.
Yeah, good game again, and we'll catch the next one.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
GG's once again to Boney, who does move on to 2-0 over C2. That is going to do it for us for the rest of this race. We're not going to raid any particular targets. That being said, there is more free enterprise later tonight. The next restream match is going to be at 9 p.m. tonight, right here on the Free Enterprise channel. And if you're a part of this Discord, there is also a race at 7 p.m. I think, let me double check. The race tonight is between Scarcerer and Duchy. That's going to be at 9 o'clock tonight. That'll be a fantastic race. And of course, the one this evening, let me see. I think the one this evening is going to be E-Ninja versus Customer Service Loot at 7 o'clock. And that's there will be a spoiler channel for anyone who wants to live watch those two runners going at it. So that will do it for those of us here at the Free Enterprise channel for now. Have a good rest of the day, everyone, and we'll see you at the next race.
Yeah, see you again. Take care.